Welcome back, everybody. Has it happened to you? Have you been on a plane or a train and you look over and you see your seatmates' bare feet, or worse, they have their bare feet up on the armrest, or even beyond that, touching you?
Which would be the worst.
Yes.
This has become an epidemic, enough of a phenomenon that Boston Globe travel writer Christopher Muther decided to tackle the issue in an article that ran in the Globe today. So, Christopher, thanks for coming back. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Why did you want to write this piece?
I have to say, I was on a flight sitting next to Liam, and he took his shoes off.
No, I would
He would
never.
not do that.
I
He
would
would
never.
not.
I would call you. You have my permission to call in the air marshal.
You have
if
to know,
I were to do
this
that.
is an issue so profound to Liam. We talk about it on a regular basis.
It comes up almost nightly.
So it's happened to me. I believe it's come up almost nightly. It's happened to me a few times. One time I was sitting and I looked over at the armrest and there was a foot there. Not fully on the armrest, but I could see it behind, and I just kind of did that, and the foot disappeared. Yeah. I think what really prompted it, though, was there was a video that surfaced this summer of a man sitting on a plane scrolling through the in-flight entertainment screen with his foot.
Yes.
And that was shocking.
And I think I said this in the piece, you know, right now we're a divided nation, but what really brought us together was our dislike of seeing that man's foot on a video screen.
It's true.
It used to be that people, Paula was saying this earlier to me today, that people used to dress up to travel. And I feel everything in life has gotten more casual, and people don't even necessarily dress up for church anymore. At work, often it's more casual now. Certainly on a plane. But what has happened that someone decides, oh, I'm going to take my shoe off, then my sock on a plane?
Right.
What is happening? Have you noticed that it's been an increase?
I have noticed it's been an increase, and I feel like there's two factors at play. Clearly, I've thought a lot about this.
Yes,
One is that people are feeling more and more confined as the amount of space gets squeezed in airplanes. So they're feeling more like, I want to be as comfortable as possible. So they're not really thinking about other people. They're thinking about their feet, or they're thinking of like how they can wear sweatpants or pajama bottoms on a plane. These are some of my other pet
They're
peeves.
cramped, and they just want to be they want to be as free as possible. What is your absolute worst story, the worst thing you've personally ever seen?
Oh, the stories I could tell the two of you. But I have had the feet sort of right above me.
Oh,
so I have felt something like the very top of my head, and then sort of looked back or looked up, and I've seen toes.
Oh, boy.
And, you know, in situations like that, oftentimes you freeze.
What's your advice on how to handle it? Because you say in the piece in the Boston Globe, you give a withering side look, a classic New England withering side look.
Yes.
I would be hard-pressed not to say something to the person that has it above my head.
Liam might have a public incident.
So what's your best advice for how to
I better
handle?
diffuse this now, right? Before it actually happens.
How is your best advice for how to handle that?
I think the best way to do it is first to sort of talk to the person and kind of put them at ease, joke around about it as best you can. Like, we're going to say this is best case scenario. Let's say you're sitting next to someone and he or she has taken their shoes off and they've decided to sort of spread out, and you're kind of grossed out by it. And you could say something like, it's amazing how cramped these planes are these days. Ha, ha, ha. You just kind of like make
Call attention to it.
Yeah, exactly. And then they think, oh, right, this is what I'm doing. Whereas if you have someone whose foot has, you know, I talked about in the story a woman who had a rotor herself, and there was a pair of feet that came down on either side of her and then pulled up
It's just incredible.
shade with her foot. Anyway, something to that level, I think, sometimes people aren't aware, just to turn around and say, you know, I'm sorry, do you mind just... And they're fine with it.
Usually they're embarrassed. How do you think it should be solved? Do you think the airlines should say, work it into the safety speech at the beginning of the flight and say it's just really not hygienic?
Yeah, they should.
I think they should.
Well, it's funny because there's a woman who runs Instagram account called Passenger Shaming, which is one of my favorite places to go and get grossed out thinking about airplanes. And she, on April Fool's Day, put up a little post that was a joke saying, TSA now to charge $150 for people not wearing shoes. So, I honestly feel like it could be incorporated into some kind of dress code. Because there are dress codes on airplanes. I know we're hard-pressed to see it, but if someone's wearing something offensive, if someone's wearing something that's deemed inappropriate, why not throw feet into the mix?
I agree.
I know you're going to start the petition.
And you should have to foot the bill. You should have to do that as well.
Don't be a heel.
Christopher Muther with the Boston Globe. Go read the piece. It's online at bostonglobe.com. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you, Christopher.
Thanks.
And we've got a lot of bare feet coming up at the beach because a beautiful weekend ahead. Eric has your weather now.